May 19th, 1845, two Royal Navy ships, Erebus and Terror, 129 men, the finest sailors in the British Empire, armed with the most advanced technology of the age. They set sail to conquer the frozen Arctic. Their mission, to chart the Northwest Passage, a treacherous sea route through the ice from Atlantic to Pacific. They believed they were invincible, but the Arctic had other plans. And then they vanished into the silence. Years later, when search parties finally located the lost expedition, they discovered something unimaginable: human bones covered in knife marks, teeth scattered inside a rusted cooking pot. The truth was darker than anyone dared believe. This is not just a story of exploration. This is the full, unfiltered autopsy of the Franklin expedition, the most terrifying survival saga in maritime history. What really happened will haunt you. Sir John Franklin was already a legend in 1845. He had survived 3 brutal Arctic expeditions. Once he was even eaten by his own men and lived to tell the tale. Now at 59, he was given his final command. The Admiralty believed he was the only man who could succeed. The goal, to farm the Northwest Passage, the last great mystery of the British Empire, a shortcut to Asia through the frozen heart of the world. His ships were masterpieces, Erebus and Terror, former bomb vessels refitted with iron hulls, steam engines salvaged from locomotives, and enough supplies to last 5 years. They were built to defy the ice. 8,000 tins of preserved meat, a revolutionary invention by Stephen Goldner. Libraries full of books, silver cutlery, even a hand-cranked organ that played 12 sacred hymns. This was no ordinary voyage. The crew carried the comforts of Victorian England into the wilderness. They believed civilization would protect them, but out in the ice, civilization means nothing, and the organ's hymns would soon sound like funeral dirges. On May 19, 1845, they departed from Greenhithe, England. Thousands lined the docks, cannons roared, Queen Victoria sent her personal blessing. The nation believed these men would return as heroes. They never imagined the horror to come. July 1845, the expedition reaches Baffin Bay. Towering icebergs rise like cathedrals from the sea. Whales breach alongside the ships. They fish, laugh, and document everything in their journals. For now, all is well. But the ice is moving faster than expected. In August, near Greenland, they encounter 2 whaling vessels, the last Europeans to see the Franklin expedition alive. The whalers warn, the ice is coming early this year. Franklin dismisses the warning with confidence. We have steam engines, we have science, we have God on our side. The whalers shake their heads. They know the Arctic does not negotiate. By September, the ships enter Victoria Strait. The ice begins to close in. It groans, it cracks, it thickens into a wall 10 feet high. The steam engines are powerless. The trap is set. Winter 1845 to 1846. The ships are frozen solid. The men drill holes through the ice to fish. They hunt seals. They burn coal to stay warm. But the nights grow longer and the food begins to fail. Goldner's tinned food, their greatest innovation, becomes their poison. Poor soldering leaks lead into the meat. Botulism festers in the darkness. The first signs of sickness appear: vomiting, blurred vision, paralysis. Scurvy returns with a vengeance. Gums turn black. Teeth fall out. Old wounds reopen and bleed. The men grow weaker by the day, and still the ice does not release them. A second winter begins in 1846. The hand-cranked organ still plays its hymns, but now the notes sound distorted, off-key, like a mockery. The men begin to lose hope. And then, the first death. June 11, 1847, Sir John Franklin dies in his cabin aboard Erebus. The official cause, heart failure. No autopsy is performed. His body is said to be buried at sea, but no one will ever know for sure. Command passes to Captain Crozier, a tough, experienced Irishman despised by the Admiralty, but deeply respected by the crew. 24 men have already died. Crozier orders the tinned food tested. It is far too late. Modern analysis of hair samples from the dead reveal lead levels 200 times above normal. The poisoning caused hallucinations, paranoia, and madness. The men were not just starving, they were losing their minds. April 22, 1848, Crozier makes the hardest decision of his life: abandon the ships. 105 men remain. They load 3 lifeboats with supplies and drag them south across the ice toward King William Island. The boats are heavy with absurd cargo: chocolate, tea, silver teapots, and a copy of The Vicar of Wakefield. No extra food, no sled dogs, no realistic plan, just desperation and the will to survive. King William Island, 300 miles of barren rock and snow. No trees, no animals, no hope. The men march south, pulling the boats behind them. Each step is a battle against the cold. Day 1, they cover 5 miles. Day 5, only 2. By day 10, they are crawling. Their bodies waste away. Frostbite blackens fingers and toes. Starvation sets in. And then, the unthinkable begins. Men begin to die, one by one. They are buried in shallow graves, if they are buried at all. The living grow desperate. Hunger becomes a monster, and the first taboo is broken. In the darkness of a tent, a sailor takes a knife to a fallen comrade. The liver is removed, cooked over a small fire. The smell of meat fills the air. The line between survival and savagery is crossed. Inuit hunters watching from a distant ridge see smoke rising from the white men's camp. They smell cooking meat, but there are no caribou, no seals, only the smell of something human. In 1854, Dr. John Ray of the Hudson Bay Company meets Inuit on Boothia Peninsula. They trade with him, a silver spoon bearing Franklin's family crest, and a human bone covered in deep knife marks. Ray's report to London is explosive. Several corpses were found mutilated, and evidence suggests the survivors fed on the dead. Victorian society is horrified. Lady Franklin calls it savage lies. The British public refuses to believe it. Charles Dickens himself writes in defense, no British sailor would ever stoop to cannibalism. But the evidence is mounting, and the bones do not lie. Dickens and others cling to the myth of British superiority. But out in the ice, survival is not about honor. It's about meat, and the Arctic strips away all illusions. Modern science confirms what the Inuit knew. In 2014, Parks Canada excavates King William Island. 31 individuals are identified through DNA. The bones tell a story of desperation and defleshing. One sailor's humerus bears over 70 cut marks, precise, deliberate, made by a sharp blade. The patterns match modern butchery techniques. This was not random violence. This was survival. Long bones were cracked open to extract marrow. Femurs show pot polish, evidence they were boiled for grease. Skulls were fractured, teeth removed. The last meals were human. A lifeboat discovered in 1859 contained 2 skeletons. One sat upright, as if standing guard. The other was missing its lower jaw. Nearby, a cooking kettle. Inside, human teeth. This was end-stage cannibalism. First the dead were eaten, then the dying, then the living turned on each other. The final survivor may have consumed parts of his own body before freezing to death. Inuit oral history, recorded in 1869, describes a camp of 10 tents and 30 bodies. Some were decapitated, some half-eaten. One man was still alive, but his tongue had been cut out. Another account, A tall man in a blue officer's coat shot his companion, then cut him open and cooked him. We fled in terror. In 1993, an Inuit elder recalled her grandmother's story. She saw the last man. He sat in the snow, holding a frozen human hand, gnawing on the fingers like a starving animal. September 2024, a new dive on HMS Terror reveals the wreck perfectly preserved 80 feet below the surface. Divers emptied Captain Crozier's cabin. The desk drawer is open. A logbook lies inside. The final entry, written in fading ink. We are not alone. Something follows us in the fog. It watches from the ice. It waits. Radiation detected in the bones, not just from lead. Something else.